So let's start off at the front, which is, the business generation, and you can outsource business generation. Ian, who would you suggest is good at helping agents with business generation to, generate business for them?
Everybody. Starbury are a business I would mention. Sprift, Spectre, Prospect Engine. They're all bringing in business. CCT technology. They're not very well known particularly, but they work with some very, very good agents across the UK and are big in other parts of the world. I think Beth will be nodding because I think they've just engaged with CCT. They are making a big difference to lots of businesses. They generate leads coming in for sure and negate the need for, let's say, letter dropping or door knocking or other tasks that may have taken place in a different world and a different time.
Well, when we started, the industry didn't, and I'm not surprised. I've been part of the industry for 40 years, run a big business in London, and I started it because I knew we had a problem with it, but we've now done over 300,000 of these things. So very, very clearly people do trust us to do it. And from that perspective, it just simply comes back to that comment you made a couple of minutes ago, which is about which bits of agency do you need people to be really good at and which ones don't you need them to be really good at. And Peter Knight's comment about, the estate agency in 2030 being that, how many people will an estate agency need to employ? One, that's to win the business on the sofa, and two, to negotiate a sale. Everything else can be outsourced. And I just think that certainly I was stuck in an industry I started in 1979 that hadn't really changed. Now you've got databases which can be marketed, which is why Foxtons was so successful back in the 80s and 90s, because nobody else had cottoned on to that. Now they have cottoned on to it, so people like CCT, Spectre, these sort of outfits can use databases to really heavily market to and win business from. So I think it just needs a sea change, and dare I suggest the younger generation of people coming through an agency are exactly the sort of people who are going to facilitate this. From my own point of view, as I said, having done over 300,000 viewings for estate agents, it clearly works and does enable people to perhaps employ staff that can do a better job of negotiating deals, turning those inquiries into listings, and letting the legwork, the grunt work, be outsourced.
Interestingly, we kind of do. So we have viewing specialists who only work for us. We've got we've got 6 or 7 across the business, across the branches now. So these are viewing specialists who just do viewing. So they've got no desks in the office or anything like that. We've got some good tech wrapped around it that helps them out on the road and things like that as well. And that's all they do. And in this business, everyone sort of has their lane, everyone has their role. We're quite sort of departmentalized, I guess, in that sense, including viewings. And I've got to say, it works really, really, really well. I would use Viewer because I'm someone who's come from an agency where we've always had, running around, the same team in the office, running around trying to find keys to do viewings. That's the old way I've come from that. And going from that to viewing specialist worked incredibly well. But we have our own. We recruit our own and we work with our own. That's the only difference.
We do exactly the same as what Joe's just said. We have all of our departments as specialists in that one particular area, including our viewing staff. I guess we'd be open to using Viewer, but exactly the same as Joe, we recruit our viewing staff to just be viewing staff, and that works for us really well.
I think it's fair to say, Chris, just to say that from anybody's perspective, certainly what I do is not to try and take over anybody's territory at all. It's fascinating to hear Beth and Joe talking, because all one's trying to do is fill in the gaps. Even your viewing specialists will sometimes be completely busy. So to have something you can dip in and dip out of is what it's all about. It's not a sort of it's not an attempt to take over the world. It's just to fill in those gaps.
Well, I'm really going to mirror what Ed said, is that I believe, Ed, and you'll need to shake your head and nod, but I believe having a Viewer account doesn't cost any money. So my view that every estate agent in the UK should sign up to Viewer, at the very least as an emergency measure. If someone resigns or somebody is ill or extended holiday, or you just hit a massive period of everybody wanting to view, why turn that business away? Why not have a resource that you can plug into that's respected? I've been shown around by viewers, and I would actually go as far to say my experience was more positive than being shown around by agents in most cases.
I was going to say, it's often, I think a lot of agents forget that viewings are often where we are as agents most exposed as a business as well. We're coming across new people constantly on a day-to-day basis. My first day in this industry, I was about 17. I was chucked a box of keys. So there you go, you're out on viewings all day. That was it. I mean, what a dreadful experience for all those poor viewers on that sunny day in Herefordshire in 19, whatever the hell it was. You know, it's just terrible. But we are so exposed in that department that getting viewings right is so critical. It's so important. And I think a lot of agents do forget that.
Yeah, I was just going to add, because with our agency, slightly different sort of scale of operations to the likes of Beth and Joe, and obviously Simon, although single operation, part of a larger agent. You know, we've always been very open about our agency. We've never hidden the fact that we're very small, a small team, a small client base. One of the things that Anne and I are currently going through the process of is, after 18 years being involved in pretty much every aspect of our business, 5-6 days a week, part of the structure that we're putting in place now is to enable us to, at long last, take a bit of a step back from the business and start being less involved in every aspect. And